So could you like share like your experience just like being at home and like with your family and stuff and just like yeah, really like what how does this feel right now?
I mean, it's definitely unprecedented times right now, but for me, it's kind of like much needed. We've got two little ones, 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. Especially this time of the year, I'm usually gone, 4 out of 7 nights out of the week.
Yeah.
So for me to just be at home and be with them, it means a lot. When they're 4 and 2, obviously they're growing and they're developing so quickly at those ages that I'm not missing out on that much. But I'm sure they're ready to get me back out of the house now.
Yeah. So let's talk a little about your career. Just I know you when we met was at a Junior Wizards camp and you was with GoGo, and now you're with the Wizards. Just like walk me through that whole process of where you are today. I know it's a lot.
Man, how much time you got?
Right.
So, I mean, it started back in 2009, 2010. I was a full-time volunteer at a Division II school in Greenville, Tennessee, and I loved that. I worked for one of the better coaches in that league. Learned a ton. He ran a tight ship, so that's really kind of where I got into coaching. Then I went back to my alma mater for 2 years, a Division III school, then bounced around to another Division III school for 2 years. So that's 5 years in Division II, Division III before I got an opportunity to be in the G League. So I went from there, and I was an assistant coach in Oklahoma City for the Thunder's G League team, the Oklahoma City Blue, and I
Yeah.
did that for 4 years as well.
Mhm.
Um, so it was a long journey,
Yeah.
but in year two and being in Oklahoma City, I got the opportunity of being an interim head coach. And
Okay.
so I was an interim head coach for 15 or 16 games or so, and really kind of got my feet wet, and that was when I kind of realized that, I could be a head coach. Not only can I coach at this level, but, I can be a head coach. I think I actually went out there and we won our first game, and it was like a wake up call, like you can do this, and ever since then, I always had the itch to be a head coach. If you would ask me before that, what I wanted to do, I would have said I wanted to be a Division III head coach. So luckily, man plans and God laughs, so they say. And obviously there were bigger things for me, and so it led me to here in DC and being able to be the expansion head coach of the Capital City Go Go.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's an awesome story.
I mean, so it's great. I thought we did a really good job last year. My staff was great. Everybody that worked with me. Obviously, when you're working with an expansion team, um, there's a lot of hurdles to be overcome.
Yeah.
We didn't really know what we had until we kind of got into it. But we had a great team, great support staff. And at that point, it was all just making sure everybody on the ship was just trying to make sure the ship was going in the same direction. And so we had a pretty solid first year. Ended up with a 500 record, which doesn't happen for a lot of expansion teams. So huge credit to everybody that was part of that first year.
Yeah. So like what advice would you give players, not even just NBA players, but whether high school, college, or even overseas players, what advice would you give them right now? With this uncertainty and just with like training, what would you tell them?
Be creative. This is a great time to be innovative. Obviously, we're kind of stuck at home, so there's a lot of videos that you can be looking up, watching film. We've talked to our players and to our staff about different ways of keeping our minds sharp. And obviously you can't get out there and do a lot of things physically that you're used to doing, but it's no excuse for you not to be mentally locked in and mentally sharp whenever this all resumes.
Mhm.
So watch a ton of film. Go on YouTube, find as many things as you can find that's going to help your game. But don't let this, don't let this little hurdle in our schedule be the reason you don't get better.
Right, right. And how do you think this is going to change like society, like the future? You think it's going to take a while? Like, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's going to take a while. People obviously with the large groups forming and all that, concerts, anything like of that magnitude, it's going to be changed for a while, and rightfully so. But I think it just puts a lot in perspective. You don't really know. what you have until they take it away, so they say. So it's just, continue to be grateful and thankful for what you do have. Enjoy the time that you can spend with family and friends. Obviously all that stuff right now seems like we've taken it for granted a little bit. So I think it's going to change a lot moving forward.
Yeah. So have you been inspired during this time? Like I've seen a lot of people doing lives and stuff like that, or any creativity. Have you came up with anything?
Um, there's been a few things, a few little projects. To be honest with you, I took basically the first 3 weeks or so
Mm.
of this little hiatus to just put down the laptop, put down the film, and just be present with my family. That's something that, family usually gets neglected a little bit during the season.
Mm.
And obviously, this is my first time being on an NBA staff, so previously I was used to playing 50 games in a G League season to now playing 82 games, so I really took that time to decompress a little bit and just be there with my family, but since then, like I mentioned before, just trying to find ways to be innovative. We have a young team, so just trying to find ways to kind of keep those guys motivated. So there are a few little projects I have up my sleeve
Yeah.
that I think are going to be pretty dope once they end up being completed.
Yeah. Okay. So I was reading this magazine, and it was like an article about, say, like, for example, I'll just say like a filmmaker, and he had a mentee, somebody that he mentored, and he said like that person was the younger him or the next him. Is there somebody that you mentor, I have a mentee that you think is going to be like the next you?
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a powerful question, but no, not really. I mean, I don't. I'm only 33 years old. Obviously, I'm still young
Yeah.
in this coaching thing myself. But I think my path is unique in a lot of ways. Like I said, started off at Division 3, kind of went to the video world a little bit in the G League to getting the opportunity of being a head coach and now being an assistant coach with an NBA team without ever playing at a high level, and without ever coaching at the highest divisions. I've kind of just been a guy that kind of, um, just they say got it out the mud, but that's kind of what I had to do.
Yeah.
So luckily, I mean, I would love to have a mentee, but I don't know of anybody just yet.
Okay. Yeah. No problem. No problem. Yeah. Any
Hey,
other?
so I need to find a mentee then, huh? That's what you're telling me? Sheesh.
No,
All
I
right.
just figure like, your interaction with the players, maybe there's like a player like that reminds you of yourself, or, like you can see walking the same footsteps.
Trust me, if there was a player that reminded me of myself, he probably wouldn't have a great opportunity of playing. I wasn't that good of a player, but one thing that I did, I was a physical player. I played hard and I was able to hold my teammates accountable. So those are three attributes that I would wish that any of our players had. So I could see your point.
Yeah. If you can name one high from this season, like, I guess a successful thing, or even if something you just felt like you guys learned from or got better at, what would that be?
Yeah, for me personally, it would be one person. It would be Jordan McRae.
Okay.
Obviously, he was with us last year with the Go Go, and he played well for us. Obviously, was first team this MVP running in the G League, all of that. But what he was able to do for us as the Wizards this year, he was able to come in, start some games, make some big shots, and win us a few games. I think that's what the whole point of having a G League is to being able to produce talent, be able to give those guys a platform to display what they're capable of doing. And luckily for us, what he was able to do last year, kind of put a lot of trust in the coaching staff and being able to play him a little bit more and give him those opportunities. So that would be the high point of me for me this year.
Yeah. Yeah. And any other thoughts just about this time, what's going on, and how it kind of like shows like, sports is plays a big impact in our lives with not having it right now. And yeah, just any other thoughts or words you want to say about that?
No, I mean I think obviously everybody's kind of going through their withdrawals right now, and it's making a lot of people be creative. I think coming from this, there's going to be a lot more. Like I was watching the NBA horse competition the other day on ESPN. So, you never thought that you'd be sitting there watching two professionals play a game of horse. So it's just forcing people to be creative in ways that they never thought of. I think that's just going to continue to move the needle. And I think a lot of people, filmmakers, producers, and people feel like they're able to do some things that are entertaining to the public. And I think a lot of good is going to come from this.
Yeah.